the coronavirus strikes the world, particularly in the Philippines, our world grinds to a stop. Suddenly, every section of the industry shut down in its operations. We are not aware of how COVID-19 has altered our lives, including our daily routine. COVID-19 caused extensive damage in every industry. We are forced to adapt to a sudden change in our daily lives, especially in the field of education. Technology became the most needed tool in giving knowledge to every student. However, several problems are arising when these changes present themselves. For example, some teachers in the Philippines are unfamiliar with the technology to be employed. Laptops, Google Classroom, Google Meet, and other online platforms are all required. To deal with the crisis that has occurred, leaders have devised a new strategy. We do this through hosting webinars, which are online seminars. Also, teachers did not take the time to grasp the online platforms which are now required in the new normal in terms of supplying instructional materials, editing modules, and other relevant activities. Remember, whether you are a teacher or a student, this is just a competition that you must win. Many people will assist you in winning your struggle.
COVID-19 pandemic serves as a wake-up call not only in the Philippines but also for the whole world, especially the academe, to develop approaches and strategies in support of the delivery of learning. The disruption of classes due to COVID-19 virus forced the concerned government agencies the adoption of online learning delivery in every school. New learning modalities are reconsidered and being studied. Education leaders are stretched of so many decision-making skills, abilities to capacitate and upskills teachers to meet the demand of the so-called new normal in education. Educators are bound to gain sufficient skills and knowledge about digital learning. They are forced to embrace change for their growth and development, and being asked to engage in personal aspiration to continue on learning and relearning for the new normal in education. Point to reflect. How flexible are we to change the gear of our personalities toward virtual learning, and how ready are we to adapt to the demands of the new job descriptions of a teacher?
Education suffered one of the most significant setbacks when face-to-face lessons were prohibited nationally during the lockdowns imposed in early 2020. So the Department of Education and Commission on Higher Education made the difficult decision to provide online and blended learning programs. Fortunately, we educators and educational resource suppliers work together to develop unique and imaginative class delivery approaches that ensure learning never stops. There are schools who are lucky enough to be able to continue courses utilizing digital and printed learning resources aligned with the K-12 curriculum and the DepEd most essential learning competencies. As every house became a school, digital educational resources and technologies were extremely valuable. E-learning platforms contributed significantly to the performance of schools throughout the school year. It has been in the market for quite some time, and it suddenly became the primary learning delivery method for schools as a result of the pandemic. As we continue on our path, we will face new challenges, but we will overcome them because we are educators, instructors, innovators, and change agents.
Education is very significant for every Filipino, as it is the only thing parents can offer as no one can steal. As teacher for almost 7 years, I can say that teachers play a vital role in the lives of the learners to prepare them holistically for the future. Teaching is sometimes crucial. Teachers need to be flexible in many aspects to deal with the unpredictable outcome. I am in an area or station where not every student can afford gadgets and internet connections. So it was pre-pandemic when I always tried to use traditional way of teaching and integrate it with technology with just presentations, video clips, and animated images. I let the students utilize the available gadgets in the classroom situation to have meaningful learning and afford quality education. This time of pandemic that online classes are in demand, safest and effective to deliver knowledge, I enrolled in graduate studies to be proficient on what I know about gadgets and learning applications as a better way of enhancing skills. It is also a better way of preparing the young ones to where they may be in the near future. As an educator and second parent of the students, it is my responsibility to let them know the limitations of using technologies, that too much of use is bad in many ways, that heart and mind are more powerful and shouldn't be dominated by work of human.
So one of the innovations to improve our education system is the continuous teacher education for private and public school teachers. As pandemic starts, a lot of changes happen, especially on the delivery of the learning. So teachers need to be flexible to cope up with the situation. We need to be ready and prepared, and for that to happen, we teachers must be equipped with the new learnings with the use of the continuous learning, such as the postgraduate education, seminars, and trainings.
Due to the pandemic, the introduction of digital tools has enabled educators toward blended approach for learning. For instance, Flipped Classroom provided room for the enhanced classroom experience. In the Flipped Classroom, the instructor may record a lecture and or provide access to videos, readings, open education resources, quizzes, and other resources which students work through prior coming to classes. Classroom time is spent on the interaction among students and with the instructor, whether through discussion, problem solving, case studies, practical exercises, or lab work. Materials are often designed to be used after class for review and assignments.
Since the start of the new normal, our ways of teaching face-to-face before became impossible, so we need to adapt to the new methods of teaching. Amidst all these changes, it's nice to know that we can learn things from another teacher, schools, or even countries through technology. With all the sharing and webinars I have attended, I learned some strategies that I have used in my class. Most importantly, I learned that we need to prioritize our well-being and the well-being of our students rather than delivering a perfectly crafted lesson plan. In these trying times, we need to take care of our health, not just physically, but also mentally.
If there is a silver lining to the pandemic's overwhelming emphasis on remote and hybrid instruction, it is that students have more opportunity to work independently and at their own pace. And as a result, they are becoming better problem solvers. Educators claim that these modifications have helped them focus even more on the fundamental aims of personalized learning. Personalizing teaching to fit students' particular strengths and weaknesses, as well as personal interests. Keeping in mind that the obstacles are assisting in the development of more independent learners. So when we switched to the remote learning, it highlighted the idea of moving at your own pace since you're just competing against yourself, aiming to be a better version of yourself.
COVID-19 pandemic really affects the educational system in the Philippines. Teachers struggle to adapt to the changes caused by this disease. Online teaching is the best way to help survive the education for the students, but digital literacy became a big problem, not only for the students but also for the teachers. It is because we were not ready in this type of situation, especially in public schools. Trainings and workshops conducted by the DepEd and other local government became the solution. Although it took a lot of time, at least now we are seeing a big development.